53 days out from the election, the Harris campaign is clearly in high gear, pushing rallies, the local interview plan I mentioned. We might get excerpts of that within the hour, a new plan to speak with Oprah, and all these other rallies and campaigning since the debate with Trump. Trump waving away any talk of another debate, which is interesting. He understands, apparently, that this debate was bad enough that a second could be as bad or worse. And he's also not playing games. We've covered Trump for years. This is a guy who claims he wants debates, claimed he would sit down face-to-face with Mueller. He has spent many news cycles often claiming he would do things and then not. Why is it different now? Well, this is a conversation that might be out of his control. If he tried to fake and claim he wanted another debate, it would add more time to people discussing the debate, which also itself may be bad for him. Harris is trying to build momentum off the debate performance. She's been hitting swing states. She did 2 rallies in North Carolina yesterday where Harris and Trump are tied.
Donald Trump and I had our debate. You watched it? Did you watch it? And look, I believe we owe it to have another debate.
There you have it. Campaigns often boil down to 2 big factors. The message, which takes endless repetition from the candidate, their surrogates, the ads, all the millions of dollars spent repeating the message. That's one part of the campaign, and you might have heard some of those lines or variations on them from Harris and her allies before. The other part is momentum. And what we're seeing this week that might have been seemingly logical Tuesday night, even Wednesday morning, as it sunk in that Trump had a terrible debate and Harris had a good one, has really only built in the last few days up through tonight, and Harris now confidently doing, as I mentioned, a new television interview, is the momentum part. She is stitching the debate performance and the perception of that performance, not really close, not one of our polarized, contested things where Republicans and Democrats see the economy differently. She is seizing on the fact that it has become clear, as we've reported and shown you, that voters think she clearly won. Many Republicans admit in public she clearly won, and she's using that for momentum. And the momentum part brings us to Tim Walz, who is out in other parts of the country, including Michigan, part of that so-called blue wall they want to win. Again, using the debate, the performance, Donald Trump's failure on that debate stage to build the campaign's momentum. Take a look.
There was one person on that stage who should be the next president of the United States. One person. She commanded the room, and I know all of us are incredibly proud of Vice President Harris, but let's be very clear. None of us were surprised of what happened there. From the get-go, she had the upper hand. Walking in, giving the handshake. Look, it says something about character. So I got asked right after the debate, do you think we should do another one? And I said, hell, every day we should do another one. Of course. Well, it's not going to happen because Donald Trump confirmed today he's not doing another one. So give him a little break. That one left a mark. That one left a mark. So he's with it. So look, who he was on full display the other night. His true colors were out there. Not just his makeup. Not just his makeup.
That's Tim Walz's signature style, which people are learning about. And while there's plenty of back and forth in politics, I would add, fact check, true. Donald Trump was on display, and we are so accustomed to him getting away with things and running away from his record that the combination of Kamala Harris being very good at this, and that's demonstrated, but also evolution and learning within the media and the fact-checking that occurred at that debate, which has not always been standard, as well as our civic discourse, if I can sound so high-minded on this Friday at the end of the week. I think more people are on to the tricks and the lies and the BS. And so the idea here that Donald Trump both lost and is running away from her, running away from another debate, and has been forced to tell the truth about that. After lying all through Tuesday, Kamala Harris and her campaign and her efficacy has him telling the truth, apparently, on this issue by Friday, which is he doesn't want to debate her again. He couldn't handle her truth, and he's running away. And that brings us to some wisdom from the great Bob Marley. You're running and you're running and you're running away, but you can't run away from yourself. Sometimes lyrics have psychological wisdom, and sometimes they have, we think, political application. Donald Trump cannot run away from who he is and who he has been for some time. The fact that he is less aware of how it's playing, that it played poorly, that he's been allegedly fighting with his own senior campaign leadership about that he went out in the spin room, as we showed you, to try to say what maybe others wouldn't, to double down on things like pet eating. He can't run away from himself, and he's certainly, based on the evidence we have, not about to change into a different, more reflective, more accountable person at this late stage in his career and in this campaign. Now, Harris is in Pennsylvania, which is a critical state, and we can tell you some of the numbers. The Harris campaign is pouring money in, which also speaks to the fact that it's still close and that Republicans and Donald Trump have very good fundamentals in that state. Look at this from the Times. I wanted to show you this. A quarter of the ad spending through Election Day going to Pennsylvania, which just reminds you how that delegate-rich state matters. And even if they think, the Harris campaign, she's doing great, even if they think in polling she might be up by a hair, they cannot risk losing Pennsylvania. There is not a good map for them if you lose Pennsylvania to win the Electoral College. Now, I've mentioned, and I said this, and our colleagues talked about this, we talked about it together Tuesday night and Wednesday. More than one person on this channel said, here's how she won, look at the substance and the facts, but we have to wait to see what the voters think, because debates are not scored by the media or a judge. There's no jury like in court that comes out with a ruling the next day. They are judged more broadly by the public over the days and even sometimes weeks ahead. Well, we are ending the week, and I can show you over half surveyed say that Donald Trump stumbled and did not appear sharp. You can see, look at the gap between the 52% that say he stumbled and only about 1 out of 5 total voters who said they watched or were familiar with the debate said that about Harris. Americans also weighing in on the winner. A whopping 53% say Harris won. Only 24% could muster that view for Trump. And in fairness to Donald Trump, I mentioned this earlier this week, I will say it again now. So like a candidate, sometimes we repeat things. 24% of people familiar with the debate saying Trump won means a heck of a lot of people who have voted for Trump in the past or are Republicans don't think he won. Didn't say that to a pollster or a friend or family member. That is a problem for Donald Trump. It is a shockwave. Doesn't mean those people won't vote for him, but it certainly depresses even the enthusiasm of his past voters. And then this brings me to the commentariat. We live in a world where we hear, especially from the MAGA side, constant lies. It became a litmus test to lie about the results of the 2020 election. Donald Trump was the loser, and one of the litmus tests was to publicly lie and claim he wasn't the loser, but he was. Donald Trump is the loser of the 2020 election. Fact. He was the loser. I said it then. I'll say it now. Many prominent Republicans trying to keep power or influence in MAGA world either won't say it or even directly lie about it. Low bar here, but some of those same people who some of the time have flirted with that appear to feel the need to just tell the truth about the fact that they think Trump blew it. And maybe that's because they feel like telling the truth, or maybe it's because, as I told you, some of them want to get through to him through the television screen and say, hey, big guy, you keep doing this, you might be more likely to lose. Some even acknowledging where Harris hit her mark. Take a look.
Whoever did debate prep for Donald Trump should be fired.
He decisively lost it.
He was terrible.
He took all the bait and none of the opportunities.
Every voice you just heard was either a full-blown conservative who spent their entire adult career as a conservative or someone in the Fox News firmament. Okay? So you have Bill O'Reilly and Frank Luntz and RFK Jr., who's just recently endorsed Donald Trump and is trying to help him, he thinks. I could have showed you many more minutes of people who are just independent experts or voters, let alone Democrats and liberals, but that's just on the conservative side. Now imagine what they're saying to each other with the cameras off. Imagine what they're saying in private. And again, if RFK Jr. is saying that in public and he's literally appearing on a stage with Donald Trump, he has the ability to speak to him and the campaign. Imagine what they're telling the campaign. Hey, no wonder there's not going to be another debate. If they don't think they can improve his performance, nobody wants to let him go get smacked around intellectually and politically by the vice president again. Certainly hard to imagine that all of this would bring someone towards him this week. And then the concepts of a plan. That matters. It may have been a gaffe, it may have been worded poorly, but underneath it is something substantive. Does Donald Trump care about this job? He clearly wants to stay out of prison, and he still wants to punish his enemies, and he talks about being a dictator. Those are all things that are about him and his power. But does he care about the actual job of being president and being concerned about you and the public and policy and health care and all the other things? Because whether you have an actual plan to deal with the national health care debates we've been having forever, but certainly during his tenure, matters. And it was a revelation, a problem for him, that he couldn't even, in his own words, claim that he has an alternative to the Affordable Care Act, or what they sometimes call Obamacare. And this has been haunting him. Take a look.
Just a yes or no, you still do not have a plan.
I have concepts of a plan.
You heard what he said in the debate. He has no plan to replace it. He said concepts of a plan. Oh, you all watched the debate. Concepts. No actual plan, concepts.
Concepts of a plan sounds like a gaffe, but it's also something that very serious policy experts are seizing on. Take the Nobel economist Paul Krugman writing why Trump was forced to admit that and how remarkable Harris's skill was at baiting Trump into an admission about something that matters.